Welcome to Ashling's Holistic Health Show. I'm Aisling Fitzgibbon, holistic nutrition coach and occupational therapist. This show brings you the best tools and ideas for you to take your health into your own hands, your true place of power. Hi everyone, I'm just here in the beautiful shop in Tralee. It's called Manna Organics, and I'm here with the owner, Claire. So myself and Claire are just going to have a conversation about the importance of organics, because obviously I'm coming at it from a nutritional understanding and wanting to raise awareness about why people should eat organic. So I thought the best person in the world to ask is definitely Claire. She has all the lowdown, and she's been in this industry for a long time. So thank you, Claire, for agreeing to have an interview about your organic shop and your farm. So just before we begin, just can you explain how you got into having an organic shop? Like, how did that come about in your life?
Well, thanks for having me on, Aisling. And I suppose about 10, 11 years ago, my husband and I came back from travelling, and we'd been away for a year, and I was all prepared to go back into what I was doing before, which was computer programming. And he said, look, we just wait and see what happens. And this is what happened. Through quite a lot of interesting things that happened, we ended up buying an organic farm, 25 acres out in Camp in the Dingle Peninsula in Kerry, and I was working for 1 day a week with Hugh, who owned Manna Organic Store at the start, and we took over the business. So we got the farm and the shop around the same time, after completing a year in on Glass, which is the organic college in Limerick. And then we ended up doing this, and it's been great. Yeah.
And so, do you ever get people like asking questions about like what is organic? Because a lot of people would say it's about like, you know, it's this new term. I suppose people are now, it's becoming more mainstream, and there can be a little bit of a confusion that it's a bit of a trend. So I just want to kind of clarify that whole issue around what is organics exactly.
Yeah. It is really funny, and I always find it very funny when people think that organics is something new. I can understand why they think it's trendy, because it is currently trending. Mm-hmm. But organics isn't a new thing. It's basically growing food, vegetables, raising animals, and living in conjunction with the environment and the earth, just the way people always did. What's actually new is conventional farming. The putting of chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides that on the land and on your food, that's only been going on for about sort of 60, 70 years. That's new, and that's what's different. And organics is actually just farming with nature, just the way people always did. Our great grandparents and their parents and their parents before them. That's all organics is. It's just farming with nature.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose the one thing I think people come to me about organics really is, you know, the cost is it's more expensive, but I think that needs to be framed in context for people, you know, to understand why it's, you know,
why organics is a bit more expensive.
Exactly.
Currently. And I just want to really stress that it is actually only currently a bit more expensive. Organic food is, generally speaking, it's grown on smaller farms. It's generally a bit more labour intensive. You do have to do an awful lot of preventative work, because you don't use chemicals and sprays to just kill everything that you don't want on your farm. So there's a lot of that going on, but also organic farming is dealing with making your farm better, increasing the biodiversity, making the food as nutritious as possible, dealing with the soil and making it better, whereas like in conventional farming, the true cost of the of what you're doing to the land isn't actually being taken into account. And actually I just read an article recently saying that if the biggest industries on the planet actually took into account their environmental costs, they would literally price themselves out of the market. There's the true cost of conventional food, because they're not paying for the environmental impact, they're not paying for the community impact, and they're not paying for the human impact. If that was all taken into account, organic food would be much, much cheaper than conventional food. And it would definitely be the other way around.
And just briefly, could you mention about how, I suppose, people do have, you know, because when you hear all that, you can feel very powerless, like, oh, you know, there's this big
these big agri businesses and they're taking over the world. But it's like what people can do in their own individual lives and what you'd encourage them to do to be an influential consumer.
Okay. Well, we can all do something. I'm not saying that everybody has to immediately change all their diets to organic, but I think making smarter choices. Like, say for instance, if you go into a supermarket, often you have to buy a kilo of carrots when really what you need is 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy 2 organic carrots in. Sorry about my phone. It goes off all the time. You can buy two organic carrots and eat them rather than buy a kilo of conventional carrots and throw away, you know, the majority of them. Growing your own garden, buying off a small local farmer or grower in your area, supporting farmers markets, and just choosing to eat, in a more mindful way.
Yeah.
We very often spend a lot of money on things that we don't really need and then chuck them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you plan maybe a couple of meals, and it doesn't have to be every meal, like having a meatless Monday for if you or having a vegetarian Wednesday, or having an organic Friday. You can just incorporate small changes into your diet. And I would always recommend, anyway, anything that you're going to eat the skin of or anything that you're going to eat raw, if you could eat that organic first. And in Ireland, the conventional food is actually of a much higher quality than it would be in an awful lot of other countries.
Yeah.
So we are actually still better off.
Yeah.
But yeah, organics is the way forward, I think. But obviously, I am a little bit biased.
A little bit biased, yeah. I know. No, it definitely makes a difference. Apart from the fact that you have an amazing shop and a farm, you also have a business selling wheatgrass. It's called sweetgrass, you call it.
Yeah.
So you could, just before we go, you can just tell people about that and where they can maybe get a hold of it.
Okay.
It's potent stuff.
It is. Yeah, it's good stuff. I've been drinking wheatgrass for about 7 years now. When we took over the farm, we looked into remineralization of the farm, so that we could grow as much nutritionally dense food as possible. And so we were looking at the works of Maynard Murray and Schauberger and so on, and we came across wheatgrass. Which is a really it can take all the nutrients and stuff out of the ground, provided that they're there. So we grow wheatgrass outdoors in polytunnels on our farm, and we juice it using a beautiful stainless steel masticating juicer, and we immediately blast freeze it into little ice cubes, which we sell as sweetgrass. And we sell it here in Manna Organic Store. We sell it online from sweetgrass.ie, and it's also currently available in most of the Kerry super values, and we hope soon to have it nationwide.
That's amazing.
In the super values. So that's going really well, and it works really well in the whole system of the farm, because we have the forestry, the agroforestry, permaculture stuff. We've orchards, soft fruits, ducks, chickens, geese, pigs, the tunnel veg and the field veg. So all the things that are like outputs from one are inputs into another, and so the farm has a nice sort of cyclical balance going in there.
Yeah.
And the wheatgrass works as a nice part of that process.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you've created a beautiful model. So
thank you.
I hope to hear much more from you coming into the future, and educating people about this farming practice and how it really is for everyone.